Hello, dear ones. After I published my movies yesterday, talking about my story a bit more, I got some questions, some information under my movie from different channels, and they inspired me to some more answers. You always inspire me. You always inspire me to say some more about my story. So there was a question under my movie.
Discomfort, fatigue,
Just a second.
walking, weight gain, and headaches.
Just a second. There were questions under my movie where I said my story, because as I said, I prefer to say my story myself to you than if someone in the future tries to lie about me or twist my story, manipulate, like the haters, the liars. So there was a question from one of my friends: how long was I given to be with the person I've loved from the military, special ops person, military marine special ops person? How long was I given to be with him? I answered to this question, and that's related to my yesterday's movie. You can watch it. For a few months, with these dramatic breaks, physically, if I mean from the first physical meeting to the last physical meeting, it was a couple of months, like about just a second, beginning of 2002 and up to the beginning of 2002 up to July 2002, almost half a year. But it was with the breaks, of course, when he was not answering my messages. So for a few months, but with these dramatic breaks when I didn't know where I am, because he didn't write me messages, because I thought he forgot about me. But then suddenly he was coming back and he was loving me like tomorrow never comes. So these were the months of extreme euphoria and then drama when he was not writing. Then euphoria, then drama, then euphoria, etc. Then he left Poland. He was flying to Bahrain. He left Poland. Silence. Somebody sent me his a phone number and a message that I should call him. And then when I called, I hear him talking in a robotic way, very robotic way, like not him like a cyborg, like a hybrid, in a very robotic way, telling me that he's happy, got married, is happy. But at the same time, he said to me, Ivona, you cannot call me. You cannot call me. And that was like you cannot call me. Like it was like it was risking his safety, life, or my safety and life if I call him. I was shocked. Next day, I called the number one more time. They were asking me to call. And I said to him, I could hear his voice, and I said to him, come and shoot me if you got married. And then I got to hear a spasmodic crying. A few weeks earlier, he said to me he's not going to get married because he saw so many of his friends in age of 30, 40 died. And he was watching their wives crying over the graves, funerals. So a few weeks earlier, I was not asking about marriage because I was discreet. And I wanted him to feel free to choose and never to feel under pressure. I'm this kind of woman that I don't want anybody to be under pressure. So I was not asking him about any marriage at all. But he was telling me I cannot get married because many of my friends died in the age of 40, 30. And he was watching his wives crying over the funerals, the graves. And he was carrying some poison in his color, safari t-shirt. In Yemen, he had like safari beige t-shirt, I remember. And there was a color, he was telling about this poison, just in case the wrong people will catch him and will try to torture him or something. And he had vasectomia, so no reason like a baby to get married. So when he said to me that he is happy and everything is fine and he got married, with a robotic voice like somebody was keeping a gun close to his head, then he was like weeping, spasmodic weeping. You cannot call me, you cannot call me. Okay, I was shocked because I was requested to call the number. And then next day I made a very short call. I was brave enough. My life was collapsing. My heart was torn apart into many pieces. My life was collapsing. But I made a short call and I said to him, come and shoot me if you got married. My English wasn't that good, as it's much more fluent today, but that day I still could express myself. Come and shoot me if you get married. And then I started to hear his spasmodic crying like a spasmodic crying. So I didn't know what's true, what's fake. And then again there was a message on the voicemail of my parents in my parents' house. My parents didn't want me to remember him. And there was also like a silence, like he was trying to contact, but nobody came to the phone. I wasn't at home, nobody was at home, but there was a message on the voicemail. It was like a silence. And then after some silence, like a silent crying, like weeping. So I never knew what's happened. I never could look at him and see him as a pervert or criminal. I saw him like a victim. In my feelings, he was like a victim, and he was telling that they were blocking his salaries, that they persuaded that I could be an agent, be with him for information or for sex, or it was breaking my heart. But we never quarreled. We never had like an argument, nothing. When we met, we had only like a time of love, passion, tenderness, love. Even when he said to me about this friends telling him that I could be an agent or a kind of a being with him for sex or information. Even when he told me that somebody told this to him, I was thinking to myself, why didn't you punch them in their cheek, in their face? Why didn't you punch them in the face for saying such a things about me? It was horrible to me that I was speechless. I was not answering even. It was leaving me speechless. And when he said, when he was loving me like tomorrow never comes, and then telling, but I cannot love, I also didn't complain. To such extent I don't like make pressure on somebody. So I also didn't complain when he was telling, but I cannot love. But loving me like tomorrow never comes, and with the most tender, passionate love I've ever met in my whole life. So that was from, as I said, it was beginning of 2002 up to about July 2002, and that was the time when we were meeting. Then the break when I was waiting with my heart bumping up to my throat to see him, to hear from him, and then again meeting him upon, then again waiting, then again the messages didn't come. I met somebody else trying to release myself. I had 2 meetings in person within years' time, 2 very short meetings because I couldn't find myself with anybody else, and so that was just not working at all. I knew that nobody else could take the place of what I felt for him. So then I was left without these messages again, and then again the same situation, appearing, loving me like tomorrow never comes, leaving me in trauma. So the months of euphoria and drama, when he didn't write, euphoria and drama, euphoria, then silence, then the phone to call him, and the message that he is fine, that he got married or something, like a robotic message, but then he's spasmodic, crying like a baby, then calling you, you cannot call me, and then next day when I say come and shoot me if you got married, spasmodic crying, then crying on the voicemail. And he was in the special ops operations, Marines, intelligence, so generally it left me in a trauma, in a drama. Then I was trafficked in the music industry, fighting with the mafia for my safety, refusing to have sex with the powerful and influential men. They were blocking my payments. I was fighting for my life and continuously living trauma what's happened to him. So that's in a brief message. Then my friend says to me in the next comment, it's very dramatic and exhausting. It can wound, very wounding the soul for the future, for the life journey. Now and I answered to her, you embrace it correctly. You embraced it correctly. With this trauma of thinking endlessly what's happened to him, begging the Creator, Father, Mother, Creator, for his life and of my close people, more than for my life. Same time, fighting for safety against the molesting, PSYOPS, against blocking of my salaries, with the mafia, fighting for my safety in the net of the trafficking by the mafia in music industry. Is indeed traumatically exhausting. So traumatic and so exhausting that continuously I was dreaming not to wake up the next day. I was continuously using the techniques of mind control, not to sit down on stage and not to cry like a baby. I thank you for your empathy. I thank to Sandra for your empathy and understanding. But these were the years of my life, begging the Creator, Father, Mother, Creator, to be able to leave this dimension in dreams. But then the intense work, psychological work, to be able to leave and then to break down completely like a baby and cry. Okay, so yes, I couldn't know the truth, what was true, what was fake. When we were together, that was like only like love. There was no single argument. There was no single like a bad situation, like a quarrel or something, or negativity. It was love, passion, love, tenderness, passion, love, tenderness, passion, love, tenderness, and then telling me about these strange things, that they block his salaries, that he cannot love, that they tell him I could be an agent, would be for sex or information with him, then that he must go to bathroom not to cry as a small boy, then a phone to contact him, then a strange information that he's fine, he was telling me he's not going to get married, he had vasectomia, so he couldn't have a reason like a baby. And then telling me with a very robotic voice like he's got married and he's fine, but then crying and weeping, and then my, because that was just few weeks later after he said to me he cannot get married because so many of his friends are dying early. And then when I say, come and shoot me if you got married, because this was just happened, we just had this crazy hot relation, and he appeared to be like the loneliest man in the whole planet. And then again, weeping. Is that how happy person behaves? That he is weeping and bursting with spasmodic cry? Is it how happy person? So I couldn't judge this situation. I couldn't judge him, because if I could judge him that he acted in a perverted way, that he broke my heart, and if I could judge it, I could just, close this chapter of my life and that's it. But I couldn't judge him, because that's not the way how I remembered him. I didn't remember him as somebody with wicked intentions. I remembered him as the most tender and most magnificent and loving person, but also as a victim. So all I could do throughout all these years was to work on the techniques, to work on the spiritual attitudes, to pray for him and my close ones, family, more than for my life. And when I was performing on stage, I was just choosing the happy songs, not to break down and cry like a baby. The most difficult for me were the New Year's and holiday events, when everybody was hugging their beloved people and happy in their relations, and I was wondering, is he alive? Is he okay? Is he alive? Is he safe? Is he safe from PSYOPS and abuse in the military satanic industrial crap complex? So when the doubts were traumatizing me, if he is safe, when the doubts were traumatizing me completely, if he is safe, then I was immediately transforming it through my conscious mind programming into the thought, Father, Mother God, Christ, keep him safe, secure, keep him safe, secure, my family and him safe, secure. You can take my life, but keep him and my family safe and secure. That was my constant programming to neutralize the trauma when I was in public situation, public performance. So that was my constant programming through all these years. Father, Mother God, Christ, keep him safe, keep him secure, keep him safe and my family safe and secure. You can take me, but keep him, my family safe and secure. That's how I was neutralizing the trauma that was coming back on and on. And there was another comment here related to psychological operations. Bojanon, channel Bojanon, was commenting under my yesterday's movies about geoengineering, mind control, tactics, and so on. In one of his comments, he said that this perverted world of the ego illusions is decoded, is exaggerated, is strengthened, and then copied. And he says, he quotes here some psychologist, Barbara Santana. So I say to Bojanon, answering his comments that suggest the psychological operations, psychological operations patterns were experimented by Ashkenazis, Jew, Tadam-wish masonry for many, many, many years. The Ashkenazis, Jewish, masonry, satanic were experimenting on humans, on children, in hospitals, in different places, through the psychologist, through the psychiatrist. So Bojanon actually encouraged me and provoked me to mention the psychologists and the psychiatrists who participate in this mind control, many times participate in a very brutal mind control programs to cover up the mafia. You need to know about this. You should know, you should be smart enough to know about this, that psychologists, psychiatrists cover up the mafia many times. So for example, in American children homes for children, they found out that 75% of children are treated with psychiatric drugs that are extremely dangerous for the whole future of the child. They're extremely dangerous. So 75% children in children homes, orphanage places, are treated with the horrible psychiatric drugs. And why do they need these drugs? Is it because there are too many pedophiles in some offices visiting these children? Maybe these children need to forget something. So psychiatrists and psychologists all around the world many times do absolutely disgusting crap job for the mafia. We know about this, but there are some of them that are professional and honest, of course. So the same way as we had lately with all this pinching, yes, pinching, how much we need this pinching for this imaginary crap, 5 Tadam G. So the same, you have sellouts, you have real psychologists and you have sellouts, you have real doctors and you have sellouts, yes, all the time. Real doctors, sellouts, real psychologists, psychiatrists and sick bastards, sellouts. So I say to Bożen on the techniques of teaching, of making deep memory, of repeating, the techniques of repeating, the techniques of teaching and repeating, and making programming that are used by the perverts of the cult of Satan for lying and crimes. So as, for example, as they used to use the word terrorist, 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 and repeat it the time when they were blowing out World Trade Center. These are the techniques that you can also direct in the right direction. These are the techniques of repeating and programming that every human with a good and noble intention should be using, defeating themselves against the actions of the perverted rats in the Tadam Zuid boroughs and the May Tadam Sonic lodges. They won't bring the truth into the mainstream media sewage. They don't bring the truth into the mainstream media sewage. I am the example of it. We can repeat, program, and copy the truth. So may they choke with it, the perverts. So may the perverts choke with their own finger. The finger with that they pointed the victims. And meanwhile, it's better to repeat, copy, teach, and program the truth, the honest and noble truth that the sellout, satanic sellout, will not tell you. The truth that the satanic sellout will not bring to the mainstream media sewage. The truth of the children, about the trafficked children, the truth about the animals, the truth about the bestiality done to the animals every day in the dairy and meat industry, the truth about psychological operations, and what a bro tadam del satanic je tadam zuid military is controlling all of this. Meanwhile, it's worthy to program, repeat, and copy the truth that mocked the liars, that shamed the liars, the hypocrites, the criminals, because simple human is not necessarily a an idiot and should know the importance of repeating of what is important. The techniques used against me, I can use exposing the criminals, the perverts, the Ber Tadam Del Jesuit Jew Tanam Ish, satanic, Masonic, military, fall down, and the humiliation of the cult of Baal. I write the word Baal deliberately, starting from small letter. To your health. Later on, Bożenon also directs me to a page, because he directed to the page of some Barbara Santana, some psychologist. So I mentioned also this. Bożenon, do you know that satanic military cults and Jew Tadam Ish satanic cults call an egoist a woman or a man who is refusing to have sex with this satanic, disgusting, perverted crap? Because this woman and man are preferring a love that is noble and true, a deep connection of spirits, and not a perverted, wicked sex with a demonic possessed pervert. And then these creepy satanic bastards are punishing electronically and via DARPA, gang stalking, electronic harassment, sleep deprivation, silent rape. They are punishing the person who is refusing to do these wicked and perverted things with them. Do you know, or don't you know that yet? Or you pretend you don't know, that they call egoist the person who refuses to do the wicked, sick, perverted, rotten, disgusting, demonic sex because they want a true, profound, noble, and lasting love and good spiritual connection with their partner, soulmate. And if you pay the attention to the creativity of Barbara Santana, a psychologist, and notice how many psychologists are working for the military cartel, military complex, for the perverts and traffickers. This is my answer to her movie about removing the ego. Barbara Santana, without maliciousness, and with my best intention to you, I have a question. Are you the vegan person with a balanced and not overgrown ego? Or as a very majority of people, you have a very strong ego, believing that you have a right to rape, torture, kill the living, loving creatures for your sick appetites, for your gluttony, being by nature a frugivore, herbivore creature, human creature, because that's the creature you are. So are you vegan? Or are you participating, or are you trying to heal people from ego, but you participate in this abuse and torture and murder and bestiality? Simple question. The answer to that is yes or not. This answer will make definition whether you are honest or you just play with some hypnosis that does not carry in the depth of the truth, like the majority of the false gurus and psychopaths of control. Why do you believe that it's possible to remove humans' ego, not expecting from them and from you the honesty and the truth? Do you think that the oppressor, the torturer, the rapist of animals, in the opinion of a true little child, deserves a life exclusively positive, that is exclusively positive? I'm afraid that a hypnosis that are deprived of truth can harm you. And when the curtain of the ego falls down, you will see it through. But I will be nicely surprised if you will show me a record where, with the courage and class of a honest psychologist, you will qualify to the category of an extreme psychosis. The things like the rape of animals, inseminations of cows in the milk dairy industry, bestiality, tortures, taking away their babies, or many similar crimes of the people with extremely overgrown ego, to the level of an extreme psychosis who do that and who sponsor it. I wish you health, and I wish you what's truly best. And one more thing, and I also checked the movie recommended by Bojanon by Barbara Santana, the psychologist, with her laugh. And I sat under her movie with her laugh, just laugh for a laugh. And I said, laugh is a health. That's the fact. It helps your circulation. Laugh therapies in America are very successful. Somebody who is observant will also tell you that the hysterical, missing the aim and sense, laugh in the wrong time and moment can be also the way how people try to neutralize their complexes or desperately pay attention to themselves, pay attention of the others to themselves. Or this is the historic laugh that is not in the right time and place, is the attempt to point their presence in a company. Is a form, sometimes it's a form of ignorance of the speaker, who may have something more to say. Sometimes his laugh, ignorant laugh, can be a form of ignorance of somebody who talks, who has some more to say. For example, a speaker who is more honest and true and frank and noble in the matters of child trafficking, organs harvesting, the situation and reality of the animals abuse, psychological operations, PSYOPS, so as the laugh of the trolls, agents online. So as many of our other gestures and reactions, laugh can play different roles, so as defeating ourselves from the attack of an ignorant person, or the common releasing of the stress, so as neutralizing the thought of our complexes, so as pointing our presence in some company to be noticed, pointing our ego. When somebody overshadowed our presence, somebody can overshadow our presence with their Blichter, with their irony, with their ignorance, but they can overshadow our presence with some moral class or intellect on truth. The laugh indeed can give many profits, but in a wrong conception and in a wrong way, being used in a wrong way, it can point in the eyes of a curious watcher. It can point the lack of, good manners, imagination and intellect. So the laugh can be very positive, very constructive, release the stress, but also can point a lack of manners, lack of imagination and intellect when it's used in a wrong way and wrong time. Laugh can bring the profits, or it can initiate your own humiliation. So as the two different ways how what is laugh from bullies or the laugh of bullies. I wish you health and was truly the best. That was my psychological analysis related to the question of the phenomenon of laugh that was pointed by Barbara Santana, but it was noticed that a laugh has many different aspects, and being laughing without a sense and aim and in a wrong time, in wrong space and in a wrong situation. For example, when somebody talks about child trafficking, animals abuse, cows rape in dairy industry, sometimes the laugh can point your own humiliation. Sometimes the laugh can release your stress, give you good circulation, release your stress, give you some nice power and health. But sometimes the laugh can point your lack of manners, your lack of imagination, your lack of intellect, and the way how you try to outshine somebody who actually presented more honesty, frankness, justice, and truth than you. So you cannot. My answer to Barbara Santana, to her movie that was recommended to me, is you cannot point the laugh as the aspect that is positive only, because as I say, in one situation it can help your circulation, it can help your health, it can make you happy, neutral and positive in situation when you are, for example, bullied or treated improperly. But in other situations, when we use laugh in an improper manner, in a wrong time and space, it can initiate our own humiliation if we could dare to ignore with laugh things that are as important, as fundamental to the quality of our characters and personalities and spirituality, so as the way we treat the silenced, the helpless, the trafficked children, the animals. So let's not make it say in general that laugh in general is best for you, because it can be as well helping you as pointing your own humiliation if you don't know when and where and from what you should laugh. So okay, so this is my little answers to the psychological analysis as I move forward. And have a nice day, folks. I explained to you quite a lot out of my story. I was reading quite slowly because I was translating from Polish into English. I was trying to translate from Polish into English what I answered to some people who sent triggers my way under my movies related to psychological operations. Yes, the psychological operations happen all the time, and they are very popular in different domains. But we should hold on to the truth and remember our story definitely, and definitely make records of the story if something was causing, for example, your trauma and horror and terror for so many years and you were struggling with this alone. But not only with this, but also with mafia, traffickers, liars and thieves. You should always remember your story, and because you can tell your story best, better than anybody else can tell. Warm cheers, Yvonne Shamsan.